Welcome to Stem Cell Activators with Dr. Joseph Christiano. Dr. Joe is a naturopathic doctor with over 45 years of experience in natural health. Each show is about one of our 27 different stem cell activators, and today's show will be focusing on the activator for bladder. Listen and discover how stem cell activators are helping people enjoy a greater quality of life.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Christiano. Welcome to my show. Hey, listen, let me ask you a question. Are you dealing with chronic pain of any sort? Are you dealing with a degenerative illness like maybe diabetes or heart disease, kidney issues, maybe even neuropathy? How about like today's show, the bladder? You have issues with the bladder? And if you do, how long have you been living with this? And what are you doing to improve it? Because if you're going on for years and years with this condition or conditions and you're not getting any better, don't lose hope, because today's show, I'm going to show you how to go to the root cause with the stem cell activator and turn it around. Because good health doesn't take a long time. We just have to do the right thing. Today's show is going to be pretty good. I've got this woman that's going to give a testimony of 40 years of living with incontinence and the struggles that she had with her life for 40 years. I can't believe that. And then later, Lori and I are going to get into the nuts and bolts of stem cells and the activators. We're going to talk more about the bladder and testimonials and really learn something. But before we get into that, I want to share you something that happened to my wife recently. She ended up having pneumonia. But during the process, she had a fever for 11 days. 11 days. All of us have had a fever. I mean, you're freezing, you're shivering, you're sweating, it's back and forth, you can't eat, you feel terrible. But for 11 days, can you imagine 11 days? And then the virus settled in her lungs and she had pneumonia. And from there, the virus spread in her body and went to her larynx, and then she had laryngitis. And so it took 2 to 3 months to rid her of all this stuff. And what we did for her was put her on the activator for her lungs, because I wanted to make sure that her lung tissue that was damaged through the pneumonia was healed, so that should she ever come in contact again, and we all do, her lungs are back in good order. So the stem cell activators can help repair the body, but also preventative-wise, they can keep you strong, so when you get hit with something, you're very resilient. Well, listen, I want to now get into this testimony. I want to cut to a clip and listen to what Arlette has to say.
I had my children when I was in my early 20s, and after that, I cannot remember a time that I didn't have urinary incontinence problems. It's like being, it's like your 2-year-old when you're potty training your 2-year-old, and they have to know where the bathroom is all the time. Well, with women with incontinence, with me particularly, I would always have to time my trips of where I was going so that I knew where the restroom was.
Now listen what she said. Almost her entire adult life, she's been dealing with incontinence. Imagine that, almost her whole entire life. She's probably, well, listen, if you're a female and you're dealing with that, you know the issues. How many times does a woman sneeze or cough and then there's an accident? I know this is clinical stuff, but we need to talk about it. But think about when that bladder is malfunctioning or there's a disorder and you have no control. Well, that was her life. And that went on for 40 years, but she kept searching. So let's cut back to her and see what else she has to tell us.
I had my first surgery for my bladder in 1991. I had a second surgery in 2016. I tried medications. I am one of these super sensitive people, and so every medication that I tried, I had some crazy reaction to, so that was ineffective.
Wow, see, she's done everything she knew to do. She had a couple surgeries. Imagine that, having surgeries and then medications and protocols after protocol, and still nowhere. She's not getting any results. Now, how discouraging is that? I mean, listen, lifestyle is so important. The quality of life is so important. So if you have a chronic condition, don't let it go any further. Today would be the day you can make that change. But her journey was really, really, well, hopefully it's inspiring, but also educational, so that you, or if somebody you know is looking like chronic or in chronic condition, we can change that. So let's go back. Let's listen to more what Arlette has to tell us.
My desperation led me then to the Botox, which was painful because they're taking a needle that's about that long right up to your bladder, and they're putting little shots into your bladder. And so it relaxed it too much, and I had to cath myself and got a heck of a bladder infection twice.
Now, okay, she has done everything, okay? Now she gets a little desperate. And I don't want you to get desperate. I know, listen, you've tried everything. You say, Dr. Joe, I've done everything. I don't know what to do. And you know something? The folks that call us and tell us about their conditions generally tell us, the girls in our office, that they've done everything and they don't know what to do. Well, here's Arlette. She's now years down the road dealing with incontinence and all that goes with that. The insecurity of going out, possible accidents, not being able to plan her day, on and on and on. So she gets desperate and she has Botox. She's going to have Botox injections. Now, that's kind of crazy to me because I know what Botox does to a person, but I can't imagine that procedure. As she shared with us, it was extremely painful. It was terribly painful, but worse than that, she's got not one, but 2 infections, and then she had a cath herself. She had to put on a catheter. You don't want that. She did everything she knew to do, and you may be doing everything you know to do, but she found an answer. So let's cut back to her and listen to the story.
I was sharing my issue, my problem with a friend of mine who kind of researches everything, and she's seen Dr. Christiano on shows, and so she said, you know, there's these drops, you know, you might give them a try. And I thought, well, I guess, you know, I've tried just about everything else. I might as well give them a try. Well, I ordered some activators, the stem cell activator for the bladder. And then after about a month, I was like, things are better. I don't have to wear protection at night. I'm making it to the bathroom at night. I'm able to, when I have the urge to go, I'm able to put it off for a while, which would have been unheard of before. This gave me the results that I needed and that I wanted. And, you know, if it could do that for somebody else, some little tasteless stem cell activator drops that have no adverse reactions, and, you know, only give you positive results are awesome.
Awesome. Totally awesome. In 30 days, she says. Now think about this. You've been dealing with this issue for 40 years of your life, on and on and on, and dealing with the harm and the hurt and just how it's ruined your life. In 30 days, after being introduced to taking a stem cell activator for her bladder, she's now getting her life back. I mean, that's just 30 days. Imagine 6 months later, continuing with the stem cell activators. Listen, right now, I want you to call my office. It's 1-800-259-2639, 1-800-259-2639, or go to my website, bodyredesigning.com, bodyredesigning.com, and make a decision today. If you call the office, my girls will do the best to answer any question you have, but don't put it off because now's the time to improve your health. You know, in Arlette's testimonial that she shared with us, I said to you at the end of her testimonial that what if she went on 6 months more of the stem cell activator, where would she be? Well, I just want you to know that you don't have to take the activators forever. You know, a lot of people that call us and order the stem cell activator for a particular condition, we recommend that if you're doing blood work, start the activator where you are and then have, you know, additional blood work done down the road and make the comparisons, because if they're working for you in a short period of time, and everybody's different, sometimes some people get dramatic returns just like Arlette in 30 days. She may want to stop there or continue, but you can monitor yourself this way and determine how long you would take them. Now, my mother, who was 90, she decided to stay on for 2 years. She says, why ruin a good thing? You know. So the idea of these stem cell activators is that they're targeted. We have 27 different activators, so that's for 27 different conditions. And I know we targeted the bladder today, but when you call us or go to the website, you're going to be able to see all the different activators and all the possibilities and potential applications that are there. In fact, Lori, my wife, and I are going to do that shortly with the Stem Cell Revolution portion of the show. But before I get into that part, I think I need to break it down for you a little bit. You know, in other words, we're talking all about stem cell activators, but do you know what stem cells are? So let me start there and just give you a little 101 so that you have a good understanding. The first thing I want to make clear is we're not talking about embryonic stem cells, but rather adult stem cells. These are the adult stem cells that you and I were given at birth. They're in our DNA, and they have a specific purpose, and it's to heal and repair damaged tissue. That's what they do. So if you have damaged cells or damaged tissue, your body releases these stem cells, and they go right to that area. For example, if you had a laceration, if you cut yourself and you're bleeding, and so you clean it, you wrap it in whatever period of time it takes to heal and mend, that's the stem cells becoming that tissue, that skin tissue. Or if you had maybe heart failure, or maybe if you had kidney failure or damage to the organs, your stem cells become that particular cell and starts to heal. And it's a wonderful natural phenomena that's part of our makeup. But over time, as we age, the aging process, but then also environmental pollutants, which we're all exposed to, and then trauma and sickness, and then your own physiology. In other words, your basic health, the level of health you're at, they all interfere with the function of the adult stem cells. So what happens? Well, you have a condition, and you're doing all you can, just like Arlette was doing, all you can to fix the problem. Medications, exercise, protocols, whatever you're doing. But it's not going away, and it's becoming chronic. It's that nagging condition. And so what do? Well, typically you stay with conventional medicine and what your doctor is explaining to you. But that's not what I want you to do. I'm educating you now to let you know that your own genetic material that's not working properly anymore can be rejuvenated, okay? Because here's how the stem cells operate. They basically communicate to one another. It's called cellular signaling. It's just like you and I talking on the telephone. Now, if there was a lot of static, you could not hear what I'm saying, so you don't get the message. Well, from one cell to the other, if that static appears, then the cells can't respond to do their healing job, so consequently you start to break down. Well, the stem cell activator, now what it does is it rejuvenates your stem cells. Okay, it gets your stem cells to get back up to optimal function so that they can start doing their job. Okay, they start doing their job, and that is to start to repair injured and damaged cells and tissue so that your body organs or your body tissue or bodily system starts to function normally. And what you experience and what I experience is less and less symptoms that you've been medicating for. And that's the whole premise of stem cells and then stem cell activation. Activation is a new phenomenon. This is something that's space age and very futuristic, but for over 6 years now, I've been allowing people to understand how to use it and to carry on, and the results are phenomenal. Now, everybody's different, keep it in mind, but nevertheless, you have more options now to apply to your condition. Okay, now it's time to dig in. So Lori and I are now going to break this whole show down for you, talk more about the stem cell activator for the bladder and possible applications and maybe even testimonials. Let's cut to it right now. Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Christiano, and with me is my sidekick and beautiful wife, Lori.
Hello.
Today we're talking about the bladder, talking about issues related to the bladder, circulatory and things like that. And we have a specific activator for the bladder. And we're going to pretty much highlight this for the rest of the video, but things we got to understand from the beginning. When we're talking about stem cell activators, we are not talking about stem cells. They are not stem cells, they activate your stem cells. So if you have an issue with your bladder, just like with any organ or gland or system in the body, We prefer to go, what we say, to the root, to the root cause. And the reason for that is the underlying cause usually causes the body to send up, we call them signals or symptoms. And unfortunately, the medical community and conventional medicine is going to treat those symptoms. Well, we're going to the root cause, and that's exactly what the stem cell activator does. And the cool thing about the activator is it rejuvenates your stem cell or stem cells that are tied in with your bladder, which obviously they're not functioning at the optimum level. Over time, sickness, disease, illness, environmental pollutants and toxins and things like that cause our stem cells to start misfiring, or they lose the capacity for healing and repairing tissue. So if you have a condition that's we kind of refer to it as nagging or chronic, then it's obvious to us, especially myself, that at the cellular level is where we need to begin. And so the stem cell activator, when you take them, they actually are targeted to go right to the bladder to ignite and to rejuvenate and turn on those stem cells that are no longer functioning properly, so that we can bring them up to optimum level, so that they in turn do their job. And their job is to heal and repair tissue. And hopefully, in the process, we'll see maybe a change or two in the symptoms, maybe a reduction in symptoms, or maybe elimination of symptoms. That would be our goal. Hey, Laura, let me take a minute to let the people know how to get a hold of us. Call our home office at 1-800-259-2639. That's 1-800-259-2639. And you're going to talk to one of my body redesigning angels. I tell you what, they will take very good care of you. Or you can go to the website, bodyredesigning.com, bodyredesigning.com. And when you check in, remember we have 27 different stem cell activators to help you with your health. So Lori, I know you have tons of information because you're on the phones every day. She's talking to people that are calling in, and a lot of these people that call in, maybe like you have an issue, you're doing the best you can with it, and you're looking for answers. And so Lori's very compassionate and very, very in tune to your specific condition. So maybe you can share something.
Well, I want to talk about the bladder support. It's called BLDR for bladder, and it's one of the stem cell activators. And I'm going to read you what the possible applications would be. So the bladder support helps regulate intercellular communication and support cellular and tissue regeneration in the bladder. And the possible applications would be bladder tone, incontinence, urinary urges, and bladder issues. I've got a couple testimonials. I've got one it was an older gentleman, and he's 96, and he goes, I'm getting up 3 or 4 or 5 times a night, and he's tired of wearing diapers, and he's just tired of living life that way. Spending a lot of money on diapers every week, So he goes, well, do you think the bladder will help? Bladder support will help? I go, well, it's worth a try, so why not try it? So sure enough, he tried it, and he called, and he was on his second bottle. He was calling to reorder, and I go, oh, what's going on? How are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm down to 0 times a night, maybe 1 time a night. And the 1 time is because their dog wakes him up. So he loves it. He goes, oh my gosh, it's been amazing. So he was skeptical at first, and now he's a believer. So It's been really good.
You would think, let's see, he's 96 years old, let the guy go. I mean, everything's falling apart.
No.
But the reality is there's a root cause. And if he's experiencing 3 or 4 times up out of bed to go to the restroom,
exhausted,
and then he starts taking the stem cell activator for the bladder, I mean, it's not rocket science. It's probably directly related to the stem cell activation that's occurring. And here's a guy again that is in his late 90s. And you would think tissue damage, deterioration would be the current state of his condition and his physiology, and there probably isn't much hope for improvement. But that's not the case, because this whole technology is so cutting edge and so futuristic that I'm certain that, almost certain, that if you were to call your physician and say you're contemplating taking these for your bladder, they'd go, what are they? Stem cell activators. Well, I've never heard of them. It's just a technology that is so radically new, and I say new like over the last 5 or 6 years. Just like stem cell therapy, In my book, I talk about stem cell revolution in the ABCs of stem cell therapy, PRP therapy, and then stem cell activation. When we find out that we have an option or two that's available to us, there's a tremendous sense of relief. For this guy here, he was tired. I mean, come on. If you can't sleep a full night and you're getting up 3 or 4 or 5 times a night, exhausted. The quality of life the next day, you're just plain exhausted. And so this is one example of taking the stem cell activator that was directly responsible for an improvement in the bladder.
And you know, the good thing with these activators, the stem cell activators, this one specifically for the bladder, BLDR, is that it's all natural. They are plant-based. They don't have any negative side effects to taking them. They don't interfere with medications or supplements.
That's great.
There's really no negative side effects to taking them. So it's definitely worth trying. You know, and we always say give it at least 90 days.
Yes.
Give it time to work. Everybody wants a 1 bottle type test. You know, it's like, well, you might not see it in 1 bottle, but you might in the 3rd bottle. So give it time, 90 days.
The one thing you know for sure is when you start taking the drops, the minute you start taking them, the activation starts to occur. Now, whether your stem cells have been, we'll say, dormant or functioning less for 5 years, 10 years, it's going to take a while to rejuvenate them so that they can start doing their job, and that is to repair tissue. So all we suggest is that you listen to your body. If there's ways of monitoring your condition or testing it, that I would do that. In other words, if there's blood work you can have done, follow up after you've been taking the stem cell activators for 2, 3, 4 months, and have another blood draw done, and then you can compare the readings, because that's how you're going to determine if the needle's moving in the right direction or not. And so it's a wonderful way to address the condition without medication. It's not medicine, without any foreign matter or anything like that. So it's very natural. It ties in with your biology. Hey, Lori, let me take a minute to let the people know how to get a hold of us. Call our home office at 1-800-259-2639. That's 1-800-259-2639, and speak to one of my body redesigning angels. I promise they'll take really good care of you. Or go to my website at bodyredesigning.com. That's bodyredesigning.com. And when you check in, remember we have 27 different stem cell activators to help you with your health.
And we have another testimonial, which is amazing testimonial, that it's a lady who has been with a catheter for 2 years. She's had a catheter. So her husband's going, do you think this bladder support will help my wife who's been on a catheter? I'm like, I don't know, it's worth trying, you know?
Sure.
So they ordered the 3-bottle special, and they started taking it, and I think it was only 2 months in, 2 bottles. He called back to reorder, and I'm like, oh, how's your wife doing? Amazing. She decided to try not using the catheter. So she started taking the stem cell activators for her bladder, stopped using her catheter, was fine. She's able to go to the bathroom without having the catheter. She feels strong. She feels like a human again, you know? Well, the supply company called and said, oh, we're calling for your supplies for your bladder. What do you need? Oh, I don't need that. I'm off my catheter. And they're like, what do you mean you're off your catheter? You're not supposed to be off your... I never got a notice from your doctor. Well, I don't need my catheter. I'm doing good. And the doctor calls. Got to come in and let me check your bladder.
Sure.
Sure enough, he goes in, checks the bladder. He wouldn't even come in the room to tell her that everything was fine. Go home. He had the nurse go in and tell her, you can go home now. Everything is fine.
Crazy.
But if she didn't have this bladder support to help her know that her bladder was strengthened, you know, she'd still be on her catheter. And it's amazing. We always say it's worth trying, and that's the best part of the whole thing.
I don't know if you mentioned it, but they're derived from plants. It's plant-based.
Yep.
It's all natural, and it doesn't interact with the medications, but it also doesn't cause an allergic reaction. So if you're on medications, if you're taking something for the bladder, feel free to add the stem cell activator, because there won't be any contraindications or there won't be any interference with that. And it's a very simple process.
And what you do is basically you do 20 drops in about 2 ounces of water, just a little bit of water, and you swish it in your mouth for about 20 seconds, swallow, wait 20 minutes on an empty stomach first thing, so you don't want anything to interfere with it, And that's all you have to do. Wait 20 minutes, and then you can take your medicine and supplements and eat and do whatever you do.
Yeah.
But just do it on the first thing in the morning.
People ask me all the time, what are the ingredients? You know, what's in this stuff, you know? And the truth of the matter is, there is nothing in it. This is a regulatory peptides. They're from amino acids from the plants, and they have a frequency. This is a vibration energy that is targeted. That's why we actually carry, in my book, we talk about 26, 27 stem cell activators that are targeted for different areas of the body. And so when you take them, it's already designed and formulated to go straight to that organ. In this case, it would be your bladder. So it breaks the gut wall. In other words, when you drink something, you know, how much of that material, say you take vitamin C, you take 100 milligrams of vitamin C, what actually gets in the bloodstream and carried to the cell is a whole lot less, probably 10% of that 100 milligrams. So you may be only getting 10 milligrams when you think you're getting 100. Yeah. These are designed in a way that they go through, they're not enzymatically broken down. They survive the enzyme breakdown or destruction and are able to be transported to the bloodstream through the gut wall and directly in full potential power to heal and to repair these cells that, the stem cells that have not been working properly. Absolutely amazing stuff.
And the good thing is that they are all natural and they don't interfere with
Yes.
anything. What we try and tell people is don't give up. Don't give up on trying to make your life better.
Yeah.
If there's anything you can try to make your life better, do it.
Yes.
And there's always hope. And no, there's never an age limit. So we always get really excited about our little 90-year-old people and even 100-year-old people
Well, that's
that do
encouraging.
really well.
That would be encouraging, Lori, to people that are in their 60s, their 40s, their 50s. Because if people that are 80s, 85s, 90s, and they're getting tissue repair, you 30 years, 40 years younger can expect that and more.
Yep.
So it's a wonderful way to address a condition. So even though we've been brief but direct in giving you some information, should you be dealing with bladder issues, incontinence, or things like that, or know somebody it is, you have something at your fingertips as far as an option goes. I would recommend that you test everything first, go as natural as you can, and then see how your body responds. Everybody responds differently. But the important thing right now, as we conclude, is that you have more information at your fingertips. You can go to our website. You can call our 800 number and inquire for more information or just read more information. But the time will come that you're going to deal with certain health issues. And the more prepared you are, the better you're equipped to launch into a higher optimum way of living than just survival. But the ball is in your court, and it's up to you to make the decision.
If you would like to order our Stem Cell Activators or Dr. Christiano's book, Stem Cell Revolution, please call 1-800-259-2639 or go to our website at bodyredesigning.com. And while there, you can click on the TV radio tab for all our shows.